Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be doing our daily transparency update, and if you're new here, that just basically includes me talking about my gains or my losses for every single stock market day with a portfolio, and as you can see today, we did finally have a red day for Tesla stock. So this is something to be expected eventually because we have had a couple of consistent days of some pretty solid run-up, and we have faced a little bit of resistance at this $500 price tag for the share price once again. And this resistance is something that we have seen in the past, and this is also just simply a common occurrence across many stocks, not even just Tesla stock, and we'll get into that discussion in just a second, referencing this resistance that we're seeing with the share price. But before we get into that, of course, we have to address the portfolio and talk about the movements for today. So of course, as always, please make sure to smash that like button if you enjoy these Tesla videos. But just taking a look at the portfolio, we are currently at a value of $195,838.69, and in the normal market hours today, we had a minus 1.94% drop, which is minus $3,876.59, and then in the after hours currently, we are at plus 0.16%, which is plus $317.03. So overall, we did have a little bit of a drop day at around minus 2%, not anything too crazy, especially given that we had such a notable run-up over the past couple of days. For us to finally be dropping a bit after this run-up, it's really not that bad of a drop, and especially when it comes to Tesla stock, it's not that bad at all, considering that we've had days where it's at minus 20% or minus 12%, especially if we look at the change in the share price over the last couple of months. And as you can see, with the stock split and battery day run-up, we had some pretty notable days of some surges with the share price, and eventually once it did hit its peak, we had a pretty significant drop. As you can see, it dropped all the way down to this point on September 8th, and that was at a share price of $330. So that was a really significant drop given that most recent run-up. So just addressing that in reference to the drop that we're seeing today, it's really not that big of a deal compared to the days that we've seen previously. However, with that being said, there were some contributing factors to that, such as the $5 billion share offering, and that did play a big role in this sell-off, given the fact that it was right after this big peak prior to battery day. But even after all of that, we kind of started to see a little bit of a run-up in the share price once again. However, we started to see it drop back down. So this is a common occurrence that we've seen over the past couple of months. So I'm just referencing this in the sense that even though we saw a pretty notable run-up, with us finally having a red day after this run-up, it's really not that big of a loss compared to previous days with Tesla stock where we've seen many more significant losses. And just addressing the movement for today for Tesla's share price, we did start out the pre-market in the red at 9 a.m. at minus 0.18%, and then at 9:30 a.m. once the normal market hour started, we were still in the red. It spikes down all the way to this point at 9:40 a.m. and then we have a pretty quick bounce back up, which it goes into the green, and we hit this peak at 9:50 a.m. After that, we have a lot of spikes back and forth with some volatility, and it hits the last point of the day where it was in the green at 10:20 a.m., which was at plus 0.19%, and then it starts to go downwards with this general trend here, and we had some bounces here and there, but like I said, that general trend was downwards all the way to this point at 11:35 a.m. That was at minus 1.76%, or minus around $3,500. It starts to bounce back up until we hit this point at 12:15 p.m., and then it begins its downwards trend once again with some more volatility here and there, all the way until we get to this point at 3:55 p.m. This is one of the lower points of the day, and that was at minus 1.95%. And then once it starts to hit the after hours, we actually had a pretty notable spike upwards to this point at 4:10 p.m., which was at plus 1.06% for the after hours. However, overall, in terms of the general trend for the day, it was still in the red, and then it drops back down, and we kind of have like a little flat time range right here where it doesn't really do much. But in general, like I said, for this to be an actual red day for Tesla, it's probably one of the better scenarios that we could have gotten. And also, as usual, just to address the time frames, for the past week, we are currently up 20.15%, which is plus $32,838.65. For the past month, we are currently up 15.04%, which is plus $25,601.03. For the past 3 months, we are currently up 19.96%. That is plus $32,581.75. And then finally, for the past year, we are currently up 90.78%, which is plus $93,186.22. And the same thing applies for the all-time chart as well, considering that I've been investing on Robinhood for under a year, which was on December 2nd. But just taking a look at the chart and referencing the previous all-time high, at least we did break this barrier of $500. I believe around the highest point that we've reached, not the all-time high close, but just in general throughout that all-time high day, I think we did hit around $507 for the share price. So we have broken the previous record, which is always good in the sense that we're seeing it pass up on this resistance with that $500 number. However, like I said, this resistance still remains given the fact that it went back under it, and we're currently at a share price of $490.40. So like I said, this resistance around this $500 milestone price tag, it's something to pay attention to, and it is a common thing that we see not just with Tesla stock, but many other stocks out there as well. I even remember when I owned Microsoft stock, there was some resistance around the $200 price tag, and even if we take a look at it right now, it's still around that at a share price of $210. And then even when I owned Apple stock as well, I believe there was some resistance around either the $400 number or the $500 number, but usually in the market, it's kind of the numbers that you would expect to have resistance. So like at least from what I've observed so far, you have like the $100 numbers. Those always have a little bit of resistance depending on the stock, of course, but like with Tesla stock, like we're seeing right now, the $500 number is another one of those milestone numbers. So especially with those numbers where you're breaking into a new 100 range, and then also I commonly see resistance happening, especially with ones like 1500, 1000, 500, 2000, basically those ones where you're getting into the next 500 number or you're getting into the next 1000 number. So this is really nothing new for Tesla. It's just a matter of when we can break this resistance and get pretty far on past that. If we can break it and hit around $530, $540, then I think there's a chance of it being unlikely that we would go back under that $500 number, because once it's able to break that resistance and get a little bit further out ahead from that number, then it becomes a little bit easier for people to say, okay, this resistance is gone here, I might as well just buy some more of this stock. And there's a little bit of that cautious and uncertainty from investors kind of going away once that's solved. I actually have no idea when this resistance will be broken. However, I do believe that we will get pretty significantly over $500 by the time of the end of the year. And my main justification for that is, of course, the big hefty purchase that is going to have to be made with the S&P 500. And then we're also likely going to have a bunch of fund managers that will be replicating that as well. So we have a lot of mandatory purchasing happening, and especially with this big date on December 21st, or if they make the purchase with two separate tranches, then we will be having some big purchases made with Tesla stock. So in general, I am expecting this to be a pretty bullish month over these next couple of days with the remainder of the year. Now, obviously, nothing that I say in this video is to be considered financial advice. That's just my personal opinion, but I feel like we do have the perfect storm here for growth with Tesla stock, just based on the fact that we have many positive things going on right now for this company in the market. And considering this inevitable S&P 500 inclusion, it is likely that there will be more retail investors attracted to this stock as well, in addition to institutional investors. So with these retail investors coming in, it may be ones that haven't actually bought Tesla stock before, and maybe in their eyes, S&P 500 inclusion gives it a little bit more credibility. Now, of course, that's an argument in itself. A lot of us, including myself, don't really see S&P 500 inclusion relevant in terms of like the fundamental aspects of the company and what they're going to accomplish in the future. But like I've stated in previous videos, it's simply a good look for those investors that really haven't paid a lot of attention to Tesla. It's something that is at least going to get new investors to check out Tesla and maybe do some research on it and realize all of the benefits of owning this company. So I do think this could be a situation right now where we kind of have the perfect storm brewing with Tesla stock based on all of these factors together. But anyways, just to address the rest of the market, we have NASDAQ at plus 1.26% for the day, and then we also have VOO at minus 0.84% for the day. So even though we had Tesla stock in the red, this isn't something that is just specific to Tesla. We have VOO in the red, and we have many other tech stocks out there in the red today as well, including many of them on my list right here, such as Amazon, Adobe, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple. So a lot of the major tech stocks. So just keep in mind with this this drop today also, it isn't something that is just specific to Tesla. It's not something where Tesla is solely to blame for this drop. And keep in mind as well, this is not an uncommon occurrence for a Friday to be red. Honestly, with my mindset, just to keep my expectations low, I pretty much expect every Friday to be red. That doesn't mean that's my prediction, but just to keep my expectations low and not be disappointed, I kind of just expect by default for Friday to be a red day. And I think that could actually help some investors out there that may get a little bit over emotional about the market. If you can just lower your expectations a little bit, you can actually be pleasantly surprised on the good days, and then when you have a day like today, you're not really as frustrated as you likely would be if you had your expectations much higher. But the reason that I basically expect Fridays to be more likely red days than the rest of the weekdays, that is simply just because we have 2 days where we don't have action in the market. So with the short-term traders out there, keep in mind that a lot of people love to trade Tesla in the short term. There's many investors that play around with Tesla that aren't long-term investors, so that's something to keep in mind as well. But a lot of these short-term traders out there like to sell before the weekend, just because sometimes there can be uncertainty with these 2 days of the market not going on, and there's that opportunity for negative news pieces to be released or things that could be released that would have a negative influence on the market. So in general, my expectations are basically that I think Friday is much more likely to be a red day than some of these other weekdays are likely to be a red day. So in general, my expectations for the market are pretty low for Fridays, not even just specifically to Tesla, but basically to the market in general. However, if we do have a lot of good news revolving around Tesla stock at that period in time, then sometimes my expectations may change. But regardless of those expectations, my emotions are always separated from the market. I simply look at these as numbers, and it doesn't really affect me on that level. But for those investors out there that maybe have a lower risk tolerance or are simply just newer to investing, that mindset could possibly be helpful because it can be beneficial to have your expectations a little bit lower, in which those situations where you have the good days, then you'll pretty much be in for a pleasant surprise and you'll appreciate those days. But anyways, let's just check out the movements for Tesla stock for today's return and also the total return. So for today's return, like I referenced earlier, we had a minus 1.78% drop. That is minus $3,559.56. And then for the total return, we are currently at plus 61.07%, which is plus $74,614.01. But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please make sure to smash that like button if you did. And also feel free to check out my referral links for Robinhood and Webull in the description below. Of course, with Robinhood, you can get a free stock if you sign up with my referral link, but especially with Webull right now, they have a huge promotion where you can get 2 free stocks valued up to $250 if you just sign up with my referral link, and then you can get another 2 free stocks valued up to $1,600 if you deposit $100 into your account. And I believe that you can take that $100 right back out. At least that worked when I got my free stocks, but I just wanted to let you all know about that because it's basically just nice passive income with minimal effort, and it also helps support the channel as well. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.